co-host because I'm getting this message that I'm getting all the time now, where I get this flash on the screen that says your internet connection is unstable.
Oh.
And a lot of times that's a sign that my Zoom is getting ready to drop off. And then if I wait a minute or two, it comes back on. So if that happens before Geo gets here, I made you the co-host. And do you see down at the bottom of your screen or somewhere where it says participants?
There's nothing down there.
It's not down there?
Nothing.
Okay, well, you'll probably hear like a doorbell ring, and just look around to see where you can hit the admit button to let her in.
Oh,
if I get caught.
See it. Participants is up top. It's 2 so far. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so when she comes, it'll show up over there and you just hit the admit button. I hope she's coming.
I hope
Karen
so too.
is not coming. Yeah, Karen's not coming tonight. So, so we'll see what happens. But we are live streaming now, so that means I can close the internet, and close Google, so that should give me a little bit more bandwidth, I guess. But yeah, anyway, did you get to see the agenda?
Yeah, I read the book.
Oh, okay.
No, I
and
did see the agenda. I did see the agenda.
Okay. And you said you read the book, like the agenda's a book.
Girl.
I think I did write more questions this week than I've been writing. But you see what I was saying about, the questions that, like I have tried to do really throughout the series, questions that anybody might have a perspective on, even if you have not read the actual material, just from living as long as we've been living. You don't even have to have that long. Geo posted something, last week, Karen had mentioned the Dogon tribe. And so Geo found a video related to that. And so I was just posting some links related to her posts. And that's why I got caught up here at the end, rushing. But one of them is a long video of several men that are having a conversation about the Dogon tribe. And the host of that discussion is this guy named Killer Priest, who is also a musician. And he uses music to transmit astrophysical concepts. I don't know if he would describe it that way, but that's how it sounded. Sounded to me. It was like learning astronomy through music.
Right.
And really interesting. And he said somewhere along the line that he's 51. So you want to let Geo in so you see what I'm talking about?
I see participants. Should I tap it?
Yeah, up by her name, click admit. Just hover near her name.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. So now you can close where it says participants, and that'll give you back the full screen. Oh, wow. So yeah, so he was saying that he's 51. And so that's why I'm saying, I guess you don't have to be as old as us to have something you want to share with the world. I'm talking about Killer Priest.
Oh,
Gio.
okay.
Are you frozen?
No.
Can you see me?
She's not frozen.
Am I moving? Okay.
Michelle is frozen.
Uh-oh.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you, but you're frozen.
Oh.
Oh. Well, I was just, before I came on, I was just trying to listen to that video, to his music video. Did you get a chance to watch it, Venita?
No, I was just telling Michelle's been super, super busy.
Oh.
Oh, well, you continue what you're saying. She'll be back sooner or later.
Okay. Okay. Well, we missed you. We missed you last week because we had Karen on, and it was some heavy science stuff, Venita. We could have used your brain.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I was just telling Michelle that it's really a much more heavy reading than I anticipated. And I love science, but with work and my father dealing with his, situation.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's 90. I'll be 91.
All right.
And he's a very intelligent man, but he's starting to slip. And the elderly is making me elderly.
Okay, I hear you.
Girl, ooh, child. I'm like, all right, now how do we do this? So it's been very trying for the last couple of months. I mean, when I say trying, and he lives alone and super intelligent man, but I've been seeing things and it's been very trying, and it's really taken a lot out of me because
yeah. Well, does he have a home health aide or someone to come in?
No, he doesn't.
That's just
He doesn't have a home health aide. He drives and everything, but he's forgetting things since I'm dealing with all his business.
Oh.
He was the vice president of finance when he was working.
Oh, okay.
At an insurance company. Yeah, he's an intelligent man. But, and then he goes in and out of this thing. And then, when things start happening, things start slipping.
Yeah.
So I'm going back trying to reconstruct, discover what's this.
Right.
And that's a lot of extra, it's a lot. And then meanwhile, he's a lot. Oh, we're back.
Okay, but we're not recording. Oh, well, there's your beautiful face. Can
you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you came in and kicked me out.
I'm so sorry. Mea culpa. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm joking. I really did lose the internet that time. I told you it really hasn't been the internet. It's been Zoom that has been going out. This time it was the internet.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sick of this thing.
That's the universe. But, that's explosion. That's the universe.
Yeah, that cosmic microwave background going.
We are still in Mercury retrograde, right, Gio?
Yes.
Yeah, that means a lot of change, a lot of shifting.
Yeah, and technology problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
double check everything and be patient and wait for it to
the
pass.
last couple of weeks, it at least has been letting me be on for a few minutes before it cuts out.
Yeah.
But when you were coming in, Gio, I was just telling Venita about the videos I just posted about Killer Priest. And I was saying, it's like he's teaching astronomy through his music. And, and maybe you don't have to be as old as we are, to have something, you know, you want to share with the world, because he's very, you know, he's very kind of intense.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't finish watching the interview with Laird Scranton because I want to go back, because first of all, it's 4 hours, right? And second, I want to take some notes.
Closer. No, it's closer to 5. I ended up doing the whole thing.
Whoa. Okay.
And what happened, I didn't, you know, when you look at that, you don't imagine you're going to be able to get through it. But I watched the first couple of hours last night. And then as I was like doing my book group prep and stuff today, I put it on this morning, like background. So what happens is the first couple of hours, Laird Scranton is there. And he's this white guy who has taken a really deep interest in the Dogon tribe of West Africa. So he is sharing, you know, how he has interpreted a lot of the symbols and, you know, how he got there. Then about midway in, this guy named Brother Sanchez comes in. And Sanchez apparently is another person that has taken a deep interest in ancient symbols. And so he's challenging Laird on some things, but they're really having, you know, kind of a nice global Black feminist kind of exchange with each other. But then this other brother that's in the group wants to fight, you know, so he's bringing all that retrograde energy. So they spent about an hour just like fighting.
Oh no. Oh, no.
And Killer Priest is the facilitator, and he's doing, you know, I mean, I think he's doing a good job of trying to like keep it civil and give everybody space to speak, but you know, it was hard. I could not have managed that group very well.
Yeah, I was kind of worried, you know, because I'd never seen Killer before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the last hour they're playing music. Laird has left, and they're just kind of playing. I'm getting the unstable thing again. Not Killer's music, but other artists. They're giving little snippets of it. So, you know, I just kind of had it on as background noise, like I would a TV show. And well, let's go on and get started before my internet kicks off again. Let's see. Let's do our introductions and welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Research. What did I call it?
Research.
Black Feminist Reading Circle. I feel like I have been a researcher with this daggone book.
I like that. That was good. That was good. That was good, Michelle. Research group.
Odom, a research group, the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle.
Oh,
and
Lord.
We are in session 18, the 18th public book discussion we've had. You can learn more about us on Facebook under that name, or on YouTube under that name. We also have a website called readingchangeslives.wordpress.com, and the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle has a page on that website. But really, when you go to that website, there's a tab called Book Chat News, and that's just where all of the current posts are showing up. We are currently reading The Disordered Cosmos, A Journey into Dark Matter, Spacetime, and Dreams Deferred by the first, what is it? The first Black woman to hold a tenure track position in theoretical physics, Dr. Chanda Prescod-Weinstein. And tonight we're on chapter 4, called The Biggest Story There Is. And it is the end of a section called Just Physics. So I'm kind of hoping that as the book goes on, there's less physics, but I have certainly learned a lot, but I'll tell you more about that, I guess, as we go on. Let's see, how do I stop this? Let me see. Yeah, okay. Venita?
Yes, my name is Venita. I'm joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome. And I have my book, which is fabulous in every way.
Wait a minute. Can I get this thing in place? All right, what'd you say now?
I said, my name is Venita Walker, and I'm joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut. And I have my book all ready to go, and it is fabulous in every way.
All right. Hold on a second. And I'm having a hard time with this spotlight. And Geo. Wait a minute, Geo. I'm trying to get the spotlight right, and
just let it go,
really
Michelle.
giving me a hard time. All right, Geo, who are you?
I'm Georgette Moses, and I'm joining you guys from Columbia, South Carolina. My book is digital, but it's fabulous too.
It's digital. Yeah. So,
oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have been learning a lot. I was saying to Venita earlier that I kind of had to pull back this week, and I created a spreadsheet of all of the terminology that I'm having to look up, which is basically the essence of a physics part 1 kind of course, physics 1001. Because, I mean, the last science kind of course that I took was in high school, and that's been a couple of years.
It's little, but I admire you making a spreadsheet. Oh, that's cool.
It was a different world. Yeah, I'll share it with y'all if you want me to. But I have just, because I've had to look up a lot of stuff. Like I shared a video with Venita last week. It was like a 5-minute video on neutrinos, because she kept using that term, and I couldn't get a visual image of it. But this video, isn't that a great video? Now, I see neutrinos.
You gotta post
all over
it.
the place.
You gotta share that video, okay?
Oh yeah. So to me, like I think Karen said last week that she would use this book as a first year college, textbook. And yeah, I mean, I think, if you just graduated from high school, in the last decade or so, then you might be, you might be ready for this. But the reason I say it doesn't strike me as a first year book is because the good doctor, she's not pausing to do a whole lot of definitions. She defines the concepts that she's trying to focus on. She uses terminology like, we're past that. And I'm like, no. I'm not past that.
She wants us to stretch and grow.
Yes. Yes, well, we are stretching. So, all right, well, let's, I guess I'll share my screen. Gio, you got the
agenda?
The agenda?
I got it.
All right, I'll go ahead and read it because Venita said it's like a book, which is not true.
I beg to differ.
It might be a couple more questions than I have been doing for this book, but it's not as much. All right, let's see. Here's my picture. This is a rainbow, which is one of the concepts that she talks about in this chapter. And within the rainbow is the image of a song that I posted called What a Wonderful World, Louis Armstrong song, but it's sung by Denise King. And so if you get a chance to listen to that, I recommend it. As a griot of the universe, can everybody see that? Is it big enough?
Yes.
Chanda Prescod-Weinstein works to learn more about the history of the cosmos. Chapter 4, The Biggest Picture There Is of the Disordered Cosmos, A Journey into Dark Matter, Space-Time, and Dreams Deferred, delves into big questions on the nature and beginning of our universe, the Milky Way, using math and science to decipher how tiny quantum particles emerged and proceeded from the yet unproved Big Bang or inflation point over 13 billion years ago that theoretically started it all. She moves quickly through the major eras of universal expansion, from the Big Bang through the Dark Ages and periods when quarks, leptons, and photons roamed freely, the life cycle of stars and galaxies, to the emergence of our own solar system and current perspective that our universe is expanding at an accelerated rate. The scientific view of Mother Earth's origin stands in contrast to and tension with other creation stories like that told in the Bible's first chapter, Genesis. However, the author acknowledges what humans have learned about the cosmos from indigenous knowledge systems like the Kanaka, Hawaiian native, from outstanding Black men, Edward Boucher, Elmer Imes, and Ronald Mickens, from women like Jocelyn Bell Burnell, Henrietta Swan Leavitt, Cecilia Payne Gapashkin, and Vera Rubin, who have largely gone unseen, and through powerful modern technology, such as the Hubble Space Telescope, which offered a view of the pillars of creation, an amazing scene modern humanity has of a stellar nursery where true stars are born. Most scientists now believe the universe is accelerating and expanding, but this knowledge comes at a cost imposed by settler colonialism and leaves us in our present state of global warming. The author wonders where humanity might be today if it had incorporated a more spiritual element into its scientific praxis. I guess we'll never know. All right, Gio, you want to start us with a question?
Okay. Well, we can start with one. Let's start with one.
Okay, you want to read it?
Okay. The first Black man to earn a PhD in physics, Edward Boucher, Yale University, 1876, was tracked into work in segregated schools, despite his high grades and honors. The second Black man to earn a PhD in physics, Elmer Imes, University of Michigan, 1918, played a major role in affirming the correctness of quantum mechanics by measuring the spectrum of hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, and hydrogen fluoride molecules. A. What does racism cost the scientific world and humanity? B. Do you think it matters if children see themselves in role models like these men when they are challenged with difficult topics like physics? And C. How might parents supplement their children's education in ways that affirm their capacity? Well, we know the answer to A, right?
What's the answer to A?
We have suffered greatly, and I think probably setbacks, right? We could have been probably further along in our discoveries and synthesis of information without the, the racism and prejudice, right? The patriarchy, sexual, gender discrimination, just so much. But it's about point of view, right? Being able to accept other people's point of view without an external, right? A physical component degrading, whether or not the information is valid, right? What you look like, who you are, what your religion is. Does it have any weight to the possibility, the value of your words and your research? So I can only imagine how hard that was for these gentlemen, right? The first in these
1876.
right? These pitchers of milk that were in the classrooms, right? And they stuck out in what they had to, just suck up and endure and move past, knowing that their minds and the questions they had and the answers that they sought were reachable, right? That they had what it took, even if it meant creating your own devices, right? Your own investigatory devices.
Right.
Just so, and if I think back, your question C, I think back to growing up in public school and Catholic school system, and what examples of excellence were presented to me during those decades. I didn't see, guys, I did not see people of this caliber presented to me, right? I'm not sure of any color, except for the standards. We want you to be like Martin Luther King. We want you to be like, I don't know, Rosa Parks. But maybe I wanted to be like some of these gentlemen, right? But I didn't have that. And so I think as parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles are concerned, older people in children's lives, that you expose them to as many diverse groups of intellectuals as possible so they can get a worldview of how people think and what they can do and how you can integrate culture and science. It can be integrated, they have to see what's possible, and they can't see it if you're showing, just this homogeneous milquetoast representation of a block they're supposed to fit into. So
I agree 100%. I mean, I remember in terms of part C to that question, work, encouraging children. I didn't have a lot of those images either, Gia. Though my parents did try to do a little bit of supplementing in terms of Black role models and science. I remember my mother had a book, I think it was called The Big Book of Science, something like that. And it was full of experiments for children. And, she didn't have a whole lot of time to fool around with us. But every now and then she would pull out the book and, let us play around with the experiments and stuff. So even that kind of thing, even if you don't know the role models to point children to, just, doing those kinds of activities with them can be, I don't know what's going on in the schools today. Maybe, maybe the children are getting more of these kind of role models than we got. But I think it, a lot depends on where you live. And the level of open racism going on, in your area. So, but we definitely cannot leave our children's education solely to the school system. I mean, that's just not good on any level.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to share, Venita?
I think a lot more is available. I remember, though, I belonged to a science club. That was my favorite subjects growing up. And you sent away, and every month you would have different experiments, and these books, color books. They were very beautiful, glossy pages once a month of the solar system, and you name it, it was there. And every month it'd be a different subject. And I think the only reason why I was able to do that during that time, which was in the 60s, is because it was faceless. You sent away for those type of things. But even today, they have a lot more to offer. But then we go back to what your parents can afford. Unfortunately, I find in Connecticut, we have this big, huge science museum that we spend megabucks on building. But the average child, and especially today with the loaf of bread being $6, even before then, what parent has the money to pay $38 for adults and $25 or almost $30? Is it almost $50 for adults and $30-something for each child? Starting from, I think they started with, from like a third grade level to visit all these great, great things and participate in all these activities for a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes back to economics.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the things that are available today, it's very hard to afford to be able to have your children participate in those activities because everything's day cost.
Mm-hmm.
Even in public school systems, where sports used to be free, music, there were tons and tons of instruments, you had a music teacher, everything. Now you have to rent your instrument, get your lessons. So, there's a lot of things that are available, but to whom?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and maybe sometimes that's how grandma and me, mom, pop can help.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of course, people do help, but just for the average family, especially with the struggles today, a lot of retired people, if they're retired, they live on a fixed income.
Yes.
Yes,
we do.
I'm just saying that no one should have to do that. period. The new technology, these wonderful machines in which we all pay taxes for, it should be where it's available to everyone. You know, period. No one should have to struggle and see how you're going to spend $150 for 3 hours. That shouldn't happen. So, you know, that's the point. It just shouldn't be that way. So we still have that divide. You know, it's not the color divide, it's economic divide. You know, that's the way it is.
I agree.
But the good news is, if you are creative and you love nature, which is what I do with the children, we have a microscope, a beautiful one that I bought because I just love science. Actually, they keep it here. We go out to the pond. We collect all kinds of, we collect water and leaves and this and that and all kinds of wonderful things. And we come back in and they have a booklet where we sit down, look under the microscope, we do science experiments, and we write in our journals. That's what we did all summer when they would come over, so that they can have a show and tell when they went back to school. So we had a science journal for the summer. So if you're creative, you can find other wonderful ways of getting things done. And the cost of that was just a microscope. You know, of course, you have to get the other things like the slides and things like that. But that's nor here nor there, because you're going to have that for quite a while. So that's what we do, and that's what we did. And they had a wonderful time. And they had the booklet at the end of the summer of all the experiments that we did on the day that we did them. And then when school started, they went back to school, and it was a show and tell. I thought it was pretty cool. It seemed like they were having fun. I know I did. I was having a good time, okay? So.
All right. Go back to share screen. Nita, you want to choose a question?
You want to put it on the shared screen? Because I'm not quite.
I'm trying. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, where are we going? You want number 2?
I found one that was interesting. It's further down, way down. It concerned it was about the question was about one of the Hawaiian values.
Oh.
I think it was Kalina.
Yeah, Kuleana, I think.
Kuleana.
Yeah, that might be the last question. Number 9. Yeah, with John Osorio. Okay, here it is.
Okay. Commonly, science stories disconnect indigenous knowledge from its large cosmology. I can never pronounce that word.
Cosmology.
Cosmology, including the land and things in it. John Osorio, a Hawaiian studies professor, was interviewed in 2016 by NPR and said, the relationship to this land is deeply connected. I need my glasses. I'm trying to pretend that I can see.
You want me to finish?
Yeah, because I'm trying to pretend that I can see, and it's kind of small. I need to get my glasses.
The relationship to this land is deeply connected. It is familial, and it incurs powerful kinds of obligations and responsibilities. Kuleana, we call them. And also a sense of real dependence in the way that children depend on parents and grandparents. Okay. I wonder how different things might be going on a global scale. This is the doctor writing. I wonder how different things might be going on a global scale right now if scientists from the settler colonial states had always understood that the land and its ecosystems were part of the family. What if non-Kanaka scientists had a scientific view that reflected this spiritual connection? Maybe we wouldn't be facing the catastrophe that is global warming. That's on page 90. So let's tackle the professor's question. And then what other cultures have a form of kuleana? And C, what do you see as the pros and cons of mixing objective science and spirituality? And D, the European scientific revolution and all the advances since then have left us with amazing discoveries and our present state of technology, where we can communicate face-to-face across geography, for example, apps like Zoom. And yet, science has left a lot of destruction in its march toward progress. Remember Harriet Washington's medical partner?
Yes.
Do you see any way to mine the gold science produces without trampling the lives and ways of indigenous people? And I'm getting the unstable connection again, so I may dash out. Let me stop the share. Yeah, so kuleana. Uh-oh, am I frozen?
Your picture is,
Yes.
but we can hear you.
Joe?
Yeah, we can, your picture's frozen, but we could hear you.
We can still hear you.
Say something else.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
it might be that. I'm sure she'll be back in a minute or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost the. Okay. Can we hear each other?
Yes, I can hear you. Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Oh, she's gone for a minute.
Yeah, she'll be back. Okay. Well, that's a big question. That's a
It's
big
huge.
question. Where you want to start?
I guess we have to, because capitalism has moved forward with such a speed of, it's almost like the universe, how quickly capitalism has taken hold of everyone's mind, the way they think, the way they move, the way they act, what they know, what they don't want to know. I'm not quite sure that's possible. I think technology has connected us in many ways, but it also, to try to come to a consensus is like almost next to impossible on what we should do or how we should collaborate so that we can move forward with science and simultaneously not destroy the earth. So I just don't even know how to answer that, because I don't think that's really possible.
Well, but while you bring up a really very important aspect of the whole process, right, is that the scientists, for whatever reasons they ask the questions and look for the answers, they all need funding, right? And if the department says, nope, the dollars have dried up, there goes their research.
Yes. And because of the discrimination and the biasness and all the other stuff, we throw it all together, it's what the person or people, organization that holds the money see fit for the scientists to explore. or the research. Good example, depends on what disease you have, what economic status you're in, who's dying from it, who's getting sick from it, and then we'll decide if that's what we want to do. It's I don't know if that could, and I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but I just I don't know if that's possible. The dollar is too powerful.
I was muted. Yeah. Capitalism ruins everything.
Everything.
So,
just think the gap is getting larger as we sit here. The gap is getting larger. You know, we might have had a shot at it even 30 years ago, you know, but the gap between the have and the have-nots is widening as quick as the speed of light almost. It's just, I don't know. What do you think, G? Oh
yeah, I don't know what the end game is, but it's not looking too good for the people in the middle.
Moment.
It's hard to dream when you have to survive, right? That occupies your every waking moment. And I think that's just where the people who benefit from this chaos, they want most of us, our consciousness, that's where they want our energy directed. So we don't have time, to think about the universe and the whys and wherefores and create, which is very sad. And so that might, I think C of that question, that would be mixing science and spirituality, right? If we had a greater connection to this, I don't know, quantum field, then perhaps there would be solutions, right? There would be allowances for children to be able to, partake in scientific educational experiences without having to worry about affording it, because there'd have already been a pool of finances, as they said, when they tax us every year or whatever, right, to provide for this. They wouldn't be behind a paywall. Supposedly, computers were supposed to be, okay, this is going to level the playing field, but you can't afford the subscription to the educational website or the internet, right? The internet speed required. You're still out of luck on the outside looking in. So part of, I think, that idea of your obligations and responsibilities to others, to humankind, would be to be able to integrate science and spirituality. And then everything you do would be for service to others instead of service to self. And we'd be a lot farther, along. And I'm kind of linking it to that idea of the inflation and the contraction.
yes.
But the universe, it boom, and then it
Yes.
froze. Why did it freeze? And then it warmed up again, boom, and then it froze. And maybe it's because of, our selfish energies, right? The dominant energy of the human race, or I don't, maybe other beings on other galaxies. I don't know, but maybe that energy is so negative that it pushes us back, so we can't grow, we can't expand. So I'd be interested to know if, what Dr. Prescod-Weinstein, if, what she discovers in the future. Because I think there's a link. I definitely think there's a link.
Yeah, well, I definitely think she's right that we would not be looking, we probably would not be looking at global warming if we treated the earth like a part of a family. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes families are not so good to each other.
Now, see, we're going the right direction.
I mean, if we treated each other like a loving family.
Okay, there you go.
It's really not that complicated. And I think I've always raised my sons that way. And they both will tell you that if you want to see how I've been raised on me, it's when you do make decisions and you have not taken into account how it's going to affect everyone around you, no matter what it is. What you say, how you move, what you take from the earth, what the energy you take from others, energy you take from everything. And it's a very easy concept. But then came capitalism. Someone has to be at the bottom for someone to feel good. And I think when I grew up, I was able to dream more. I could think about dreaming before even survival to me came into play. I could just, as a child, a preteen, a teenager, dream. There was a dream. And I can actually see those dreams come to fruition.
A lot has to do with our own behavior. Like if you think about global warming, and from what I understand, the crux of the problem is our dependence on fossil fuel. And that is something, on the one hand, you can look at it as, as long as the big companies are, pumping the oil and shoving it down our throats, there's nothing we can do about it. But, we always have the power of being the consumer. And, we can choose not to consume. We can, there are some things that we can change just as a part of our individual behavior. I was thinking about when I was a teenager, I was riding in the car with a girl that was a little bit older than me. And we had stopped at a fast food joint and eaten our food, and she threw the bag, the garbage bag, just threw it out the driver's side window. In the middle of driving. Now, I had to put a label on it because y'all are gonna do that. But it was shocking to me. It was shocking to me. Just that level of disregard, for our environment. And so there are a lot of little things that we can do as individuals that add up to a big splash in the ocean. And, and it's hard to get there. It's hard to get yourself motivated to make those changes, to make those sacrifices in your own life, to say to yourself, no, I'm not going to throw the garbage out the window. I'm going to wait until I get to a garbage can. Or, I'm going to switch over the type of energy that my home uses. They're sacrifices, but they're sacrifices that are within our power. But I don't think you can get there unless you do have some kind of spiritual connection to the earth.
Well, in other countries, and one good example is Japan. Now, you could throw something out a window if you want to, You can drop a you can drop a piece of paper on that ground if you want to. You can go around and cutting down forests and trees if you want to, but you'll be right here. You won't be doing it anymore. See, in our country, it's almost like we don't try to. I don't even know if we try to deter that. The behaviors destroying the earth and littering in the streets. But in a lot of other countries, that's just not allowed. You wouldn't think of it. And when we were growing up, it was that way. I remember distinctively growing up. If you threw something down, you dropped it. You must have picked it up.
Well, that's why I was so shocked to see this behavior.
You remember that, Michelle? Like if you had chewing gum or something, you dare not spit that on the ground. I mean, you just didn't. You just didn't. And if you did, you were corrected right away.
Because there was a respect for the environment.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
At Kuleana.
Mm-hmm.
At Kuleana, the Hawaiian concept. Yeah.
Yes. So it was very different growing up. I don't know at what point we just lost ourselves. But I don't remember it always being so as prevalent as it is today, with people just not respecting the earth, respecting each other. I just, this is a whole different new thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's our generation that has, to a large degree, turned away from church and religion and spiritual teachings with good reasons. I mean, there was a lot to turn away from, but it's like this pendulum swung so far that it has taken us to this point, where we don't even have basic respect for the earth, and that's not cool.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah.
As a matter of fact, do you see my shirt that I have on?
Wait a minute, let me spotlight you.
Can you see it?
Only the top, just the shoulders.
It says Earth Day is every day.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
yes. That's what my shirt says. It says Earth Day is every day.
Yes, it is.
Because I'm feeling earthy.
Yeah.
The disordered cosmos has put that earth spiritual thing in me today.
Well, good.
So I wanted to show you all how I feel. I'm being silly. I don't know why.
No, you go right ahead. You be silly if you want to.
I actually volunteer. I actually volunteer once a year at the community college on Earth Day. And they have all kinds of activities going on. And this is where I actually got this shirt from, being a volunteer on Earth Day.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
What do you do when you volunteer? What do you do?
All kinds of things. They do plantings. Venita's over there planting in the shade. They know me. They give me the area over there in the shade. Many times it's actually raining on that day, which is super nice for me. They do recycling of clothes, recycling of bottles. They have all kinds of activities going on in the community with the young, the old, the in-between, different booths of activities that all focus on saving the earth. They have all kinds of, they have speakers there talking about ways that we can contribute every day to saving the earth, and they'll give examples, and it's just a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. You just made me think about something. I'm thinking about Karen's post about Panama and the beautiful picture she showed. And
I didn't see them.
You didn't? Oh, you got it. It was an apartment she was thinking about, I guess buying, and the view out of it was just spectacular. And then what you said, Michelle, about the person who just threw the thing out because she didn't even care. In a city, probably, and I'm just speculating, right? There's
Yes,
no
it was a
connection,
city.
right? There's no connection, immediate connection to
Yes.
your environment. It's just hard, cold, dirty, black, whatever, gritty, right? And when you're in a place where there's more life, more greenery, more the ocean, right? You can see how the earth works. You can see it moving. It's alive. You can have some respect and connection to it. Just like what Venita was describing, you know, it's an everyday thing, right? So it's not so, I mean, you see these beautiful trees, this luscious beach and ocean, you're not gonna, you know, like throw your junk in it because it's beautiful. Do you want to be the one, right, who messes it up? So
your environment makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. Yeah, and that's a good point that you brought up. Growing up in the city every year, practically every year, I would visit my cousins in the southern states, which is a whole new world for me. You know, growing up in the city, and going to the southern states. My aunts had ranches, horses, gardens, rolling hills of green. You go out in the yard and before dinner and pick out all the vegetables that she was going to cook. I thought it was great. I think everything is great though. Really. I'm just excited about everything. And you're riding horses and everything was so pure and just so untouched. And, you know, wildflowers just grew. And the city is different. And a lot of times you're lucky if you even have a tree to mark your place.
Yeah.
You know, there's no greenery in yards most of the time. If there is a yard, it's made of concrete. So I think that I agree with you. The environment also dictates how you feel about the earth. Most children that grew up in the city will never see an ocean, a lake, a pond, or anything else.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that's why it's so important that we expose them to as much as we possibly can.
That's right.
You know, that's very, very important. I'm glad I had that experience. You know, for me, it was just like, I don't know, I thought I died with heaven every year. It was just, you know, go up in the city, then you go out there and then horses and, you know, you saw chickens and pigs and all kinds of stuff that you normally don't see running down the streets of Philadelphia. You know, I don't mean to laugh, but
and just to get us back to the book, that's also the environment that kind of encourages you to look up at the night sky.
Yes.
And, you know, become curious about what all that's going on, because a lot of stuff going on. You know,
that's true.
Up there. But when you're in the city, you know, the night lights of the city can be so overwhelming that, you know, you don't even notice the sky. You know,
this is true.
Yeah.
I think my background picture, the background picture I now have on Facebook, was on a night of the Northern Lights. I took that picture from my home, and I have trees back there, and I took the sky in between the peak. That picture was the night of the Northern Lights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we didn't get it as spectacular as others may get it, but it was still beautiful, and that picture's untouched. That's exactly how it looked that night. That was about a month ago or less. Yeah.
Wow, that's just amazing. Wait, Connecticut gets Northern Lights? That's something.
Well, at certain times, and it doesn't come that often at all. They predicted that in some parts, if there weren't clouds, that we would see some of the Northern Lights. We won't get as vibrant as other areas. I think the mid part got it much more vibrant, but we might get a glimpse of, you know, some of the Northern Lights. And it was cloudy that day, very, very cloudy. I was like really getting a little stressed because it was cloudy all day. And for some reason at that time, and I was watching out for it that evening, the clouds just lifted for about a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I could see the Northern Lights, and I took that picture.
Wow, that is cool. That's really
I thought it was cool. Very cool. So I'm sorry.
Nature is fascinating.
Off track. Isn't it a beautiful picture?
All right.
It was a gorgeous picture. And it's untouched too. It's just untouched. That's just how magnificent, the same way you see it on my background, is the way it looked, exactly.
All right, I gotta look for it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's right. It's my background picture for my profile. The little girl in the picture behind it.
Yeah, I love that little girl.
Isn't she adorable?
Yes.
I want to get to question 3. So I will read it. Share the screen. Agenda. Or you want to read it, Gio?
Okay. Before the stars came, scientists described the period as the Dark Ages. However, the James Webb Space Telescope launched 12/25/21 after publication of this book and has so far seen 6 massive galaxies that existed 500 million and 700 million years after the Big Bang. In other words, during the so-called Dark Ages. And this finding is currently upending science. The James Webb Telescope, Space Telescope, JWST, is the most advanced and most expensive telescope ever built. It has often been referred to as the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope, which was launched in 1990. A. How do you imagine Dr. Chanda Prescod-Weinstein is feeling about findings of the James Webb Space Telescope? B. Prescod-Weinstein leads us to the Hubble Pillars of Creation, seen on the Eagle Nebula, a young open cluster of stars, as an example of a stellar nursery, best seen in color. Did you look for the color image of the pillars? And if so, what thoughts did you have? And C, we now have stars and the light they emit, such as our own sun, and many scientific discoveries. But in what ways does it seem modern man is trapped in a black hole of darkness, if it seems that way to you, and or able to bring light to matters about which our species has been ignorant?
So, yeah, I mean, I just imagine, Chanda is beside herself over this James Webb Telescope. She's probably flying around, unable to sit still and concentrate because I'm sure she is just giddy with the findings. And so this article that I posted talks about how it's upending everything they thought they knew. And that's what's so interesting to me about this whole the scientific cosmological story versus the religious cosmological stories and cultural cosmological stories. From what I can see, none of them have, evidence. I mean, science, to me, tries the hardest to provide objective evidence for the claims that they make. But that doesn't mean they can answer every single question that a child could ask. There just still remain plenty of things that we don't know and may never know. But it's just this James Webb telescope. So the Hubble went out in 1990. Gio, I'm sure you saw that picture of the Pillars of Creation.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see it, Venita? You're muted.
I beg your pardon?
Did you see the picture of the Hubble of the pillars of creation?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was spooky.
It is. And my nerves are bad, so I didn't look at it too long.
Oh.
Right. But fascinating nonetheless. But imagine that image being caught by a telescope that launched in 1990, which sounds ancient.
It is.
Now.
Thank you, Gio. It is.
In technology terms,
yes, it is.
So yeah, the James Webb is likely to find some things that upend what scientists think they know, and they will have to rewrite all the books. But yeah, so she's writing to us. Now her book was published in 2021. I don't know, I don't remember what month. But she probably finished writing in what, 2020, 2019, and in that short span of time, what she's telling us about the Big Bang, how that played out, because she goes from the Big Bang 13 million years ago, kind of up to the present day, is already outdated information.
Yeah, hey, they're looking into the past. What blew my mind was that they expected to see tiny little galaxies in their infancy, and they saw galaxies as bigger. So,
Yeah,
like you said, they have
and
to
a
go
bunch
back and
of them.
rethink their equations about.
Right. And another thing, the video that you shared, Gio, on Killer Priest and and Laird Scranton. One of the things Scranton was saying was that now that video, I think, is a year or two old also, but he was saying that this idea that the universe is expanding and accelerating, he disagrees with. And so he was describing it as looking through a prism and you think you see something, but you're not really seeing accurately. So he was trying to describe it as when you look through the technology or telescopes that are available, at the time, it does look like there's an acceleration, but he was describing it as a perceptual issue. So I'm not the one to try to argue with him about it. Chanda is, but but it just was interesting to me because even Chanda talks about the guy that first figured out that it looks like the universe is accelerating. He didn't believe his own lying eyes, and so it's just interesting. We're so curious and we want to know so much, but there seem to be some real limits to that.
Well, I think we have, ancient cultures in their cosmology, right, and how they explain you know, the
The
universe.
origin story.
Right, origin stories. And we have our scientists who've been working, based on a particular viewpoint, right, about
Mhm.
and what information they will accept. And then we have people like Laird Scranton and some other folks who are really mixing the two, trying to find, well, what is the truth? And maybe it requires thinking outside of just the rigid scientific methodology and the
Mhm.
fluid religious cultural, you know, methodology to find what
Mhm.
actually is happening. Because I mean, when you think about what is it, the particles, right? It can either be a particle or a wave, depending on whether you look at it, and that proves it has consciousness. I mean, for me, that throws everything out of the hey, anything's possible. Okay. If a particle has
Mhm.
consciousness, now you need to describe to me what consciousness is.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's
And
quite
the animals.
yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I think we've got to broaden our perspective about things we will accept as a truth, right? Or we'll accept this is true until something else comes to displace it or be more true, right? Something.
Mhm.
Mm, but
Mhm.
I'm open. But what I did do, because I was interested, because NASA's always doing stuff esoteric. So
Uh-huh.
I looked up, okay, the date of the Hubble Space Telescope launch. That is an 11. And the symbolism for 11 is the illuminator or the teacher. That's one of the
Oh wow.
definitions of it. And then I went over to the James Webb Space Telescope launch date, and that's a 6. And that means beacon of hope. So I'm going to look at that as positive. Somebody at NASA was
Oh,
trying to put some positive energy into this.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, you always take us to another dimension, Gio.
I hope that's in a good
Wow.
way.
All right. What else? What else?
You frozen? Oh,
Uh-oh. Michelle, hmm, are you frozen?
I don't see her. Let's see. Probably. Yes, she's not. It's this blank
Oh,
screen.
oh.
I was just thinking myself, Gio, that being said, there's so many particles around us, and some of them are radical, and some of them are so tiny that maybe, and since our bodies are so complicated, but yet it's pretty simple. Our bodies are made of mostly water and fluid. Maybe that's the reason we're behaving the way we are.
Hmm.
We don't know how these little particles, because we can't see them, we can't explain them, we don't know where they are. We don't know if some of these particles are affecting us.
Oh, that is true. And I kind of remember an article, science article, just a little blurb in a magazine about 5 years ago. They were talking about some cosmic rays coming through from the center of the universe, hitting the planet. And I'm like, is this something we need to be worried about? And that was 5 years ago. And I think I want to look back and see if the intensity of crazy increased after that.
Well, I mean, our skin is the biggest organ on our body. And our
Yeah.
skin takes in chemicals, it takes in dyes, it takes in oxygen, it takes in all kinds of things. So how do we know that it's not taking in some of the universe? Because we can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course, a lot of things can't be proven. So how do we know it's not affecting us?
Yeah.
You know, the way we move around now.
There sure has been a uptick in crazy.
Yeah, there has. It has. And also depression.
Yeah.
And I don't think it all has to do with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just believe that there's so many things around us that we can't see. We don't know how it affects.
And helping and evil. One of my questions, it's where she's talking about there being an uptick in inflation haters, Big Bang haters.
Yes.
In the scientific community. And so my question is, are these Donald's people? You know, but I mean, we got all that kind of evil energy going around, throwing a monkey wrench in everything. With billionaires behind them, you know.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on. Yeah.
There's a lot going on that we can't see. And still I go back to things that we can't see. And I don't think anything's by accident. I just think that the world is evolving and things are happening. And a lot of things we'll never be able to explain as we weren't able to explain 500 years ago. I mean, we assume that we're advancing in science, but are we really? Because I actually question my reality, you know. I mean, are we really? Or are we going backwards?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do we have a sense of space and time anymore? You know, because all the big changes that we see in the people's behaviors and the way they think and the way they move. And, you know, are we actually going forward? Is science actually going forward? Or do we just feel like we're going forward, but actually we're way back there? And stuff that's already forward is really affecting us because we're not there yet. Our bodies haven't evolved to be able to handle that yet. These invisible particles that are going around us all the time. So I know it sounds a little strange, but I've often thought about that. Are we actually where we think we are?
Well, it's not strange when you have scientific papers written about, are we living in a holographic universe? So it might be right. Hey, but you could be onto something very pertinent. Okay.
Well, sometimes you feel that way. You feel that way. It's not deja vu. I mean, your whole body just feels like it's just not equipped. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know exactly what it is, but I know my body sometimes feels like it's just not equipped. It's like something else is going on. But my body's not equipped to handle that. And it's not a mental thing. I just feel a whole body thing. Like it's just, you know, over here when it should be over here. And these things are happening and my body is just not responding because it's just hasn't evolved enough. Because I think we're really back there. I don't think we're up here. I think we just slowed on down. Our bodies have slowed down for probably a lot of reasons from evolving. And I think things might be moving faster than we're evolving. So we're kind of stuck back there. And maybe that's going to account for some of the unstableness. Or maybe I'm just unstable. Maybe everything is good. Maybe I just lost my mind. You know?
No,
well,
maybe.
You know how she...
No, go ahead.
You know how she talked about, let me see if I can find the reference, talked about people, human beings emitting a certain energy, but it's not visible. But you know, there's that, and I remember my comment was something like, yeah, when you feel like somebody's throwing off your vibe, like I'm generally in a good mood, but sometimes I'll be around somebody and they are putting out such a funk in their attitude that I feel it. I mean, I do feel like I'm an empath,
Mhm.
and a lot of times, I mean, I just want to close myself off from the world because I don't want to receive um, all of that negative energy that's out there.
I believe that for sure. I felt that without the person saying anything at all, not even opening their mouths, not even being this close to me. You could just, right over there, you could just feel all that, and that tends to frighten me. I think I even told you, I told Michelle a lot of things, because nobody might know. She's probably one of the few people other than you, Gio, that would believe me. But sometimes I just get this, and I just want to get away as quick as I can, because you could just feel it. They haven't said anything to you, they haven't touched you, they haven't opened their mouths, they're not even that close. They're right there, but you can see it. If you had a blue light, I feel like I probably could just see like all this stuff is flying, So I just want to get away. And I've been feeling that more than I've ever felt in my life, that all this stuff.
Yeah, I have too. I mean, I mean, like I've always felt empathic, but I used to feel like I could receive positive energy. And that is just more and more rare.
Yes.
And it just makes me feel like I don't know, what the hell is going on here, but something is off. Yeah.
Well, just protect yourself from the fungus zombies, because that's about what they are.
Yeah. I do.
Who's this now? The fungus?
Oh,
only Gio. She has a name for it.
It's a series. It's a horror series based on a game called The Last of Us, and the zombies are fungus, made out of fungus.
Oh,
okay.
Now I'm afraid of stuff like that, Gio. Why are you
sorry? Oh, I'm sorry.
Funguses.
But it's a metaphor, right, for a dysfunction going on in the human population, right? And I think that's what a lot of these horror stories, they mirror. And look, there was a scene in one of the episodes where they called in the specialist, the fungus specialist. I forgot the terminology, but she sat down and she told the officer, he asked, what should we do? And she said, bomb the city. I'm going home to be with my family. Oh, no. So when you guys are talking about this toxicity that's palatable, right? In the air, in the, on the TV, on the news, everywhere, where do you find relief from it? How do you protect yourself from it? You're trying to grow, and be in connection with the positive energy of the universe and the planet, and all the rest of them are like fungus zombies. Right? It's just
yes.
like, where's this going, people? Where is it going?
It takes a lot of energy to protect yourself from it.
Yeah.
It takes more energy than I would like to use. So that scares me too. But again, I think that our bodies are not evolving for a lot of reasons. Just think, our foods, a lot of the foods are genetically modified, although you get so-called organic. Most times that just means less pesticides. It doesn't mean no pesticides. And with the air that you're breathing and the clothes that you're wearing from other places where they're spraying all kinds of pesticides on the clothing, or to ship them from one part of the world to this part of the world for no ungodly reason other than capitalism. You could slave some folks, they don't require health care. They do, but you're not getting it. So a lot of things are going on with us. And I think the reason why I feel like that we're not here where we think we are, because we're not behaving. Our bodies and our minds are reacting to where we think we are. I think we're back there. And I think that's a lot to do with a lot of variables. that's actually retarded our bodies to be able to defend ourselves against particles, against bad, those bad vibes. I think that our bodies have really, the growth that's retarded. It is not, and not all those variables have caused us to just not be able to, we're back here. I mean, we're physically back there. So,
anything's possible. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, because this is some strangeness we're witnessing, and so so I'm open to all explanations.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chanda,
all right, y'all. Let's call it a night. And Jill, I'm gonna send you the quick video on neutrinos right now. And it's really a good video, isn't it, Venita?
I thought it was very good.
Cool,
I thought it was
cool
very good.
graphics.
Graphics. It breaks down in layman's terms. It makes it easier to understand because, she really, I'm saying, Chanda, we don't have a background in science, so you're sitting there the whole time. It's like,
okay, moving on to the next. Okay, that's what that was.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing that video because I'm a visual learner. I like to see
it.
If you're talking about tiny particles doing stuff, I want to see it.
Well, and what I said to Venita is, the last thing I remember from my high school science courses a couple of years ago was atoms. But what Chanda is talking about, for the most part, are subatomic particles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, so I have a visual image in my head of an atom.
Yes.
I didn't have an image of a neutrino or a baryon, or, bosons and mesons and leptons and, all this other stuff. So I've only just started exploring the videos on them, but of course, there are loads of them. So it's a good one to start with. So I'll share it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right. Y'all have a good week. We're off next week.
Okay.
And on break time.
That's good. I put my reading. On more time. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when we come back on May 23rd, we're on chapter 5, the physics of melanin. So she ain't off this physics stuff yet.
Okay.
Let's say.
So get ready.
Michelle, you should send an email and tell us 3 ladies are hanging in there.
We're doing it. We're doing it, Chanda.
Oh man, we're
I'm
ready.
ready.
That's cool.
Have a nice. Huh?
No, I'm just talking to myself. I'm all set. I think I need to have a snack. I need a snack.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna take.
If you find anything good, Gio, in your research as you read, send it to me.
All right, I'll do that.
Please,
I'll definitely share. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right, ladies, have a good night.
You too.
Next time.
Reading our story together.
I'm feeling you, Michelle. Good night.
That's cool. Good night, ladies.